Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I'm Miss Lisa, and this is my YouTube channel for everything I want to talk about, science and math related. And today we're doing physics, and in particular we're talking about electricity and series and parallel circuits. So this concept video probably won't be very long. The bigger thing here is math. Yay, we love math, right? So what is the difference in a series and parallel circuit? Remember, circuit electricity is the electricity in wires. And if you didn't watch the video before, go back and watch it. And then the other idea is there's two different ways of doing the circuit. The first way is the way they used to do Christmas tree lights a long, long time ago. And it would be, when I was a little kid, if one bulb burnt out, then you didn't know which one it was, and the whole strand of Christmas tree lights went out. And it was because to get from one bulb to the next, it only had one path. The electricity had to go through one bulb to get to the next bulb to get to the next bulb. That is called being in series. And if one bulb burnt out, then it was like opening the switch. It was like turning it off, because the electricity has to go all the way around back to where it started to complete the circuit. There's a video that y'all might can find on YouTube. There was an old show called Beakman's World. And Beakman had a really good, he was a crazy scientist with hair up to here. He had a guy dressed like a rat, Lester, the lab rat, and a girl, Josie, who she was his assistant, I guess. But they did one on electricity, and they said electricity is better thought of as an event than a thing. And they're all standing around a circle, and they're passing a basketball around in the circle. And if the basketball stops, the electricity stops. Well, that basketball being passed around is like the electrons going through the wires. So in a series circuit, the electricity goes through one thing after another, next, and if it breaks anywhere along the path, the electricity stops. So a better way to wire something is in parallel, and you give the electricity more paths to get where it wants to go, so that if one bulb burns out, it can take a wire to get to the next bulb. And that is called parallel. And that's how modern Christmas lights are done. So we're going to look at the math, and the math is different whether or not something is in series or parallel. We've already talked about the modern thing you use to measure the volts and things like that are the modern multimeters. They're this little box with a dial on it. And when a long time ago, when I started, it would be analog. It'd be this little needle that would swing to what was reading. Now, of course, it's a little digital display. And they're cheaper now, too. So that's one thing about electrical things usually come down. Oh, I have a low battery. Electrical things, I just touched your computer screen. Electrical things usually get cheaper. Okay, so parallel circuits, I told you what those were. For a lab, you could try getting some bulbs and putting them, like flashlight bulbs, and putting them in series and parallel. You can use aluminum foil for the wires. Just fold it up and use a little battery. This works. And I'm sure you can find details of a lab like that on the internet. If you want to do that for your lab, you can do that. Now, this is something else I want to tell you about was, what do you do to get temperature where it's too hot for like a glass thermometer? You can't put a glass thermometer in an engine and find out the temperature, right? So what we use in places where it's too hot to tell temperature is something called a thermocouple. And what that is where they take two kinds of metal and they fuse them together. These metals will expand or contract with temperature, but different metals do it at a different amount. And so when they do it at a different amount, it makes it bend. And that's how they can tell temperatures in places too hot, and also how thermostats work, the old kind. Now, of course, now we have new digital modern ones that will even be smart on the internet. But the old ones actually would have this bimetallic strip that would turn it on and off, and then as it turned, it would make connection and turn it on. So your book explains that also. And that's really it for the concepts of this chapter. We're going to do more in the math part 2 video, so come back for that. And then our next chapter is our last chapter. So if you've been doing these once a week, you're going to finish early. If you've been doing 2 a week, you'll probably finish right about right, but you do it at the pace you want to do it. That's the great thing about doing classes independent like that, isn't it? All right, so like, share, subscribe. Science is great. The next math video is coming up, part 2 of this, and then our last chapter will be chapter 24. All right, remember, science is great.